Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Daily Book Summary YouTube channel. In order to not stop learning, listen to an English book summary every day for free.
Jenny Wood, Wild Courage. Go after what you want and get it. When was the last time you held back from pursuing what you truly wanted because you were afraid of what others might think? That hesitation, the moment when your inner voice says, "Don't be weird," or "Stop being so selfish," that's exactly where wild courage becomes essential. Wild courage means showing up as your full, real self, even when it's uncomfortable or goes against what's expected. The traits we often try to hide are often the very things that set us apart and make us effective. The people who get what they want are usually the ones who learn to use these traits on purpose. In this blink, you'll learn how qualities that might feel like flaws are actually powerful tools for self-advocacy and growth. By the end, you'll know how to use them intentionally to stand out, connect with the right people, and create new opportunities without waiting for permission. Do you have the wild courage to turn being yourself from a risk into an advantage? Let's get started. Weird strengths transform professional limitations. What does being weird mean to you? Most people think of it as something awkward or out of place, the part of themselves they learn to hide to avoid standing out for the wrong reasons. But weird just means different. It means having qualities, interests, and ways of thinking that aren't like everyone else's. Those differences are what make you recognizable, memorable, and valuable. Everyone is weird in different ways, and within these differences lie your greatest strengths. Many of us suppress our authentic selves to meet others' expectations. In professional settings, talented people dim their light to blend in, afraid to be seen as odd or too much. This self-denial wastes mental and emotional energy that could be invested in pursuing goals. While conformity is often presented as the safe path, research shows that embracing uniqueness leads to better outcomes. After World War II, the U.S. Air Force discovered no pilot matched the average measurements used for cockpit design. Once they created adjustable seats acknowledging everyone's uniqueness, accident rates plummeted. A different example of uniqueness as strength is the red sneakers effect, which refers to how we consistently perceive people who deliberately break dress codes, like wearing bright red sneakers to a formal event, as higher in status. Conformity may be rewarded in high school, but in adult life, you don't want to blend in. The real danger isn't failing, but being forgotten. Speaking up in meetings, volunteering for projects, and watermarking your work with your name and contact information ensures visibility essential for advancement. Organizations are opportunity-generating machines, but leaders can only connect you with opportunities if they remember you exist. To truly stand out through your authentic weirdness, take deliberate action. Bring enthusiasm to workplace interactions by sitting front row in meetings and speaking up early. Create a short, memorable personal introduction that highlights your unique strengths. Say yes frequently to opportunities early in your career. Then become more selective as you advance to protect your time while maintaining visibility. When calculating risks, ask, "What's the fine for standing out, and is it worth paying?" Like the distinctive smoky flavor of Lapsang Souchong tea, you aren't for everyone. And that's exactly the point. Selfish boundaries create sustainable success. Selfish has become a dirty word in our culture, but it shouldn't be. Being selfish, in other words, having the courage to stand up for what you want, is essential for both career advancement and personal fulfillment. This healthy selfishness is about championing your agenda at least as strongly as you champion the needs of those around you. Our evolutionary wiring predisposes us to self-sacrifice. In small tribes, this made sense. If you help put out your neighbor's fire, they'll help with yours. But modern professional life requires boundaries. At work, it's not just what you do that matters, but whether your contributions are visible. You might excel at your job, consistently delivering excellent work, yet receive a disappointing evaluation. Why? Because you've been helping colleagues shine while remaining invisible yourself, letting others take credit for your ideas and efforts while your own contributions go unrecognized by decision makers. To practice healthy selfishness, say yes to high-impact opportunities and no to everything else. Much of what fills our calendars is nap work, not actually promotable tasks like taking meeting notes or planning office parties. While these activities might earn temporary gratitude, they rarely lead to advancement. Protect your calendar fiercely so you can focus on projects that showcase your talents to decision makers. Learn to reassess your commitments through the lens of WIN, which stands for What I Need Now. Consider Claire Torrey, the session singer who recorded vocals for Pink Floyd's The Great Gig in the Sky. Torrey initially accepted just 30 pounds, believing her improvised performance wasn't very good. Years later, after the album had sold 45 million copies, she successfully sued for songwriting credit and royalties. The original deal no longer reflected her contribution's true value. Similarly, you can revisit agreements when circumstances change. Goals that once seemed vital may no longer serve you. Don't let sunk costs trick you into continuing a fruitless pursuit. Selfishness, properly applied, means looking for win-win solutions rather than zero-sum outcomes. Seek to grow the pie in negotiations by finding creative options that benefit everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're first or fifth, as long as you're looking after your interests as diligently as everyone else is looking after theirs. Shameless advocacy builds professional credibility. Shame might be the most silent career killer in the professional world. While we're taught that modesty is a virtue, shamelessness, having the courage to stand behind your efforts and abilities, is actually a professional superpower. It's about refusing to let self-doubt prevent you from advocating for your own value. The workplace constantly triggers imposter syndrome, a phenomenon first identified in 1978 that affects everyone regardless of achievements. Think of a talented new hire who keeps a backpack of personal items under their desk for months, never unpacking family photos or decorating their workspace because they're convinced they'll soon be found out and asked to leave. We often sabotage our own sense of belonging before others have any chance to question us, remaining perpetually packed for a departure we're certain is imminent. Our brains contribute to this self-doubt through negativity bias, making us remember criticism far more vividly than praise. This explains why after a performance review highlighting 3 strengths and 1 weakness, we obsess about the weakness. The solution? Create a power portfolio of your 3 strongest assets and focus 75% of your energy on leveraging these strengths rather than fixating on weaknesses. Self-promotion becomes easier when approached systematically. A simple weekly email to your manager highlighting accomplishments and upcoming priorities creates visibility without awkwardness. When presenting these achievements, use the ROI framework. Explain your role in the project, the objective you pursued, and the measurable impact of your work. Speaking up is equally important. When something needs to be said, Get to the hardest part within the first 90 seconds. This applies to everything from giving feedback to asking for a raise. Beware of imprecise language and euphemisms that obscure your true meaning. They only prolong discomfort and create confusion. Of course, unapologetic self-advocacy needs to be balanced with accountability. Own mistakes as openly as you celebrate wins. This transparency builds trust and actually enhances your credibility. The most respected professionals are those who acknowledge failures, learn from them, and move forward without unnecessary shame. Nosy questions reveal hidden opportunities. Being nosy is typically seen as being pushy and intrusive, but reframed properly, it becomes the courage to dig deeper and ask meaningful questions. This simple habit, cultivating genuine curiosity, might be the most powerful professional skill you can develop. We're born curious beings. Children ask nearly 180 questions daily. Yet this natural inquisitiveness diminishes as we age. We learn to avoid bothering people or exposing our ignorance. This conditioned restraint holds us back in professional settings where questions signal engagement and leadership potential. Curiosity literally changes your brain chemistry. Research from UC Davis shows that when we're in a curious state, our brains become more receptive to all information, not just answers to our specific questions. This makes curiosity a powerful learning accelerator. Questions also shift focus outward. When meeting new people, anxiety typically stems from self-consciousness, wondering how we're being perceived. By turning attention toward others with thoughtful questions, we simultaneously appear more confident and make genuine connections. This outward focus transforms networking from a dreaded chore into an opportunity for discovery. But what to ask? The most powerful questions are often the simplest. When everyone in a meeting avoids asking what an acronym means, the person brave enough to ask demonstrates leadership rather than ignorance. This can create clarity for everyone in the room. Communications also become more effective when reframed through curiosity. Count how many sentences in your emails begin with I, then rewrite them to focus on you. This subtle shift makes messages more engaging and persuasive. When you admire someone's abilities, get curious about their methods. Observe how successful colleagues deliver presentations, manage projects, or handle difficult conversations. Breaking down their approaches into replicable techniques allows you to adapt their strategies to your style. And always maintain reciprocity in your questioning. Be as willing to answer questions openly as you expect others to be. Pay attention to social cues indicating when you've pushed too far, and focus on acting on the information you receive. There's no point collecting insights you never use. Questions create possibilities. By embracing your natural nosiness, you'll uncover opportunities that remain invisible to those afraid to ask. Manipulative strategies strengthen meaningful connections. The most successful professionals have mastered the art of strategic influence, yet we hesitate to call it by its true name: manipulation. We squirm at the word because it suggests dishonesty. But effective manipulation isn't about tricking people. It's about having the courage to deliberately shape relationships to create mutual benefit. Consider what happens when relationships aren't strategically managed. Mentorships fizzle, partnerships dissolve, and marriages end with someone saying, "I thought we were doing fine." Relationships are living entities requiring constant attention, not passive arrangements that maintain themselves. Now, professional influence works in multiple directions. Beyond maintaining a good relationship with your boss, You need to map influence networks throughout your organization. Power doesn't flow according to the org chart, but through informal connections that bridge departments. Identify these networks by asking yourself, who can get things done without formal authority? Who has everyone's ear? With this map in mind, implement a 4-directional influence strategy. Schedule quarterly meetings with your skip-level manager, your manager's manager, bringing specific data to demonstrate your value. Build relationships with your boss's peers who might advocate for you in promotion discussions. Maintain strong connections with colleagues who may become tomorrow's leaders. And continuously cultivate external industry relationships before you need them. You'll also want to use generosity strategically. This forms a foundation of lasting influence. Business development expert Mo Bunnell found that top performers generate 10 times more revenue than average ones, primarily because they give more help more frequently. The trick is scaling your generosity appropriately, giving enough to demonstrate value without solving the entire problem. Throughout all interactions, bring consistent positive energy. Simple warmth, expressed through word choice, tone, and body language, melts resistance and builds connection. Even when it feels inauthentic in the moment, the habit of adding positive energy to encounters builds rapport that translates to professional opportunity. Office politics often get a bad reputation, but research from King's College London shows that workplaces where politics are openly discussed and explained to newcomers create more inclusive environments, especially for underrepresented groups. The problem isn't politics, but pretending they don't exist. So don't avoid influence or think of it as forcing outcomes. Instead, see it as creating conditions where others want to follow your lead. By strategically building relationships that benefit everyone involved, you turn manipulation into its most powerful form: genuine connection with purpose. Bossy leadership empowers team excellence. We've all encountered the playground taunt, "Don't be so bossy." Yet leadership requires exactly this trait, more kindly defined as the courage to listen and lead. The transition from star performer to effective leader involves a paradoxical skill shift. Successful individual contributors solve problems directly, while great leaders help others solve them. This distinction becomes painfully clear when newly promoted managers attempt to tackle team challenges alone. Consider a leader who spends hours creating an elaborate transition plan before a team offsite, only to face backlash when presenting it. The team feels their expertise has been disregarded. True leadership would have meant tossing markers on the table and facilitating a collaborative solution rather than imposing one. Effective leadership requires taking your hands off the wheel while still steering the ship. When managing others, communication becomes half your job. Updating management about your team's accomplishments, helping team members understand the larger vision, and coordinating with peers across the organization. Your success now depends on multiplying results through others rather than achieving them yourself. Before you dive into leading, become what film professionals call a set rat, someone who observes and learns the environment before presuming to direct it. Schedule time to shadow team members regularly, not to critique, but to understand their challenges and remove obstacles that impede their performance. You also want to avoid toxic leadership behaviors that undermine your team's success. What might seem like justified criticism can feel like ridicule to those receiving it, while creating artificial urgency burns people out. When you fail to recognize contributions or behave unpredictably, team members stop trusting you. Similarly, indecision paralyzes progress, and perceived favoritism breeds resentment. These behaviors rarely stem from malice, but from insufficient self-awareness and training in effective leadership techniques. True leadership brings out the best in others. By stepping back, listening deeply, and supporting strategically, you help your team achieve more than they thought possible. The ultimate expression of being effectively bossy. The main takeaway of this blink to Wild Courage by Jenny Wood is that embracing qualities others might label negatively is essential for achieving what matters most to you. You're not weird. You're authentically distinctive. You're not selfish. You're prioritizing what truly matters. You're not shameless. You're advocating for your value. You're not nosy. You're uncovering hidden opportunities through curiosity. You're not manipulative. You're building intentional relationships. And you're not bossy. You're leading with purpose. When used strategically, these traits propel you forward. The more you embrace your unedited self, the more likely you'll create a career and life that genuinely fits who you are. Okay, that's it for this blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next blink.